What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a refreshed Model 3 that we're going to be putting ceramic window tint on. But before I do that, I kind of want to get some data points, do some measurements on the factory windows to see what makes sense as far as tint goes. I've got my tint transmission meter here, and we got an untinted window. So it's about 80% from factory and has about 78% IR. So after we tint, we'll kind of see what that looks like. Okay, and for comparison, we're going to do the rear window too. Okay. So that's about the same. Yeah, so I'm showing 75. We go up here to the back window is 2, 3, and then 22, 32. So no real heat rejection from the clear part, but once you start getting into this, kind of stained glass portion, significant IR heat rejection. Like ceramic tint is not gonna even be able to be that good. And for comparison, we'll do the back window too. So you don't really get anything on the back window. That's 54. Yeah, 99. So nothing on the rear window. Oddly enough, the front window does have some heat rejection properties. All untinted though. There is no tint, no factory tint on this Tesla. So you don't really get any heat rejection on the clear part. You get a ton up top. The sunroof, that's better than any ceramic tint available. No heat rejection on the rear window. Very little heat rejection on the front window. So if you were only worried about UV protection, you wouldn't have to put any tint on your Tesla. The main benefit with the ceramic tint is you get all the heat rejection. So if you're somewhere like Las Vegas, like here, it's super hot, you're gonna want that ceramic tint on there. But if you're in like Alaska, probably don't need ceramic tint. But if you want the best of the best, ceramic's where it's at. But if you just want privacy, you'd probably be all right with a carbon film. For this vehicle, I'm gonna be doing Pro Nano Ceramic 20% for the rear, Pro Nano 35% for the front two windows, and Carbon Ceramic 75% for the windshield. Reason why I'm doing Carbon Ceramic instead of Pro Nano is they were all out of Pro Nano 70, so I'll just be doing a Carbon Ceramic. They're both about the same. In fact, this one's even lighter, so it's basically clear, so that'll probably be even better for the customer. We've got the air conditioning going. Just gave everything a quick wipe down to get all the dust off of there. So now I'm gonna really start prepping the windows, get the tint on there, cut it, shrink it, stick it on, and be good to go. But before we do any of that, I'm not sponsored or anything, but I start every tint out with Celsius, get some caffeine going. And I think I'm gonna do this video a little bit different because I've tinted so many Teslas and there's music in the background and it speeds up. I think I'm gonna make this one more interactive where I just kind of talk and give some commentary while I tint, do all that type of stuff. So first thing to do, we gotta be like Loki, trick these doors, trick these windows, right there. All right, and that's gonna trick that window to go up. And we're gonna do the same thing over here. So I just use one of these trim tools. It's gonna click once. There we go, and you probably heard it. So now that window is all the way up. So if I shut this door, it's gonna break the glass. I don't wanna do that. So one thing I like about the Costco, the Kirtland brand microfibers, is they work great for something you need a little more robust than a paper towel. I like to put them in the door here, so that way, if I'm not paying attention and I accidentally shut the door, it's not gonna slam into this and break the glass. Because then I'd be paying the customer to tint their windows instead of them paying me. That would be bad. Tesla stuff's expensive. You don't want to break the glass. So that's kind of my stuff. Usually I just leave them all open always. Once they're open, I'd never shut them until the whole job's done. So to put the window back down, you just open the door handle, the window will go back down. And then you might, if you're not like a tint guy or gal, you might ask like, hey, why do you need to trick the window to go all the way up? There's seals under here, which I'm gonna take out. So I'm gonna take out these seals. That way the window tint goes under the seal. Because if it's above the seal, throughout time it's going to go up and down and hit that seal and it'll peel up. So I like to bottom load the window tint, so I remove the seal and tint past it, so it never, you know, hits the lip of that rubber seal in there. So that's why we tricked the glass to go up. All right, so I decided I'm going to start out with the 20%. This is a brand new roll. I've never tinted a vehicle with this before, still in the plastic. So I'm going to hang that up on my roller and go from there. Okay, so I've got my roll on there. It's just like toilet paper, right? It's always gonna go over. You don't want it to go under. This is gonna be the non-sticky side. This top side here has your liner on it. So when we install it, this is gonna go against the glass and we cut around it, and then it's mirrored when it sticks on the inside of the window. Another thing I like to do also with fresh rolls is your first kind of foot of film is gonna be sacrificial. Yeah, because you can kind of, I don't know if you can see you can kind of see that in the reflection. That first mark there, see how it gets scratch clear? So this whole thing right here is sacrificed because I want to put crap film on a car. So I'm going to cut that off and then I'll have nice, fresh, clean tint because that plastic's been sliding around scratching that tint. So the new refresh 2024 Model 3, there's no cable for the door anymore. There's just this connector right here. So I can put tape over this. But that is amazing because now I don't have to put plastic over the door panel. I don't have to worry about water getting in the lights. I've got the door panel over here. So all that water and everything, like it's not going to stain the door panel. It's not going to get in these lights right here. I really like that design. That's going to make it so much better. So this is the seal I was talking about. If you don't tint past this, it's going to constantly hit it and lift up over time. I don't take it completely off. I just kind of tuck it in right there. So now the tint can go past this so it doesn't peel up over time, and I can bottom load it right into there super easy. This does come off though. There's just a clip here and clip here. You can take the whole thing off. This is just how I do it. So all I'm going to do to prep now is I'm going to put a piece of waterproof tape. I use roofing tape over this connector so no water gets into there. And everything else looks pretty good. Yeah, awesome. This is a new design too. This wasn't here on the older Model 3s, so that's something new. But yeah, it's just clips. None of the clips are broken. And then it's just 2 T30 Torx bits to take these doors off, the panels. Super awesome. I like that a lot. And there, I've just got some waterproof tape over that little connector, not like we're gonna be spraying water all over the place crazy, like we're just doing a little spritz on the window. But before we do that, we're gonna go ahead, scrub the outside, razor the inside, scrub the inside, clay bar the inside. That's my kind of thing. It's probably overkill, but I don't like contamination. I'm going for as perfect as possible. I know there's no perfect window tint, but I strive for perfection. Sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. And I just picked up this awesome cart from Harbor Freight yesterday. It's 99 bucks. I keep all my stuff here. I've left squeegees in customer cars, scrub pads. I've lost so much crap because ADD. So everything stays right here on this cart so I can stay organized. It stays clean, stays off the ground. This is a super good cart, even though I've got my whole tint kind of section in that mobile cart there, and then I use that full bank cart for all my wrapping supplies and detailing supplies. But this thing is awesome. You can kind of put the stuff back, switch it over for wrapping, switch it over for tinting. This thing from Harbor Freight is awesome. And I like to use, I'm using a 3 gallon or 2.5 gallon, I think, Tint tanks, Tint keg. Thing's awesome. I don't need a 5 gallon. You know, I might only do 2 cars a week. Because typically, the outside of the window is going to be way worse than the inside. I used to use my Fusion squeegee, but this little Liebman one works really good. So I've switched over to using this just for cleaning. Still use my Fusion squeegees for application, but yeah. And then with these laminated glass, there's a little groove in here, so I always make sure to clean that really good. That's why you saw me go around there. With the scrub pad, We'll flip you around here so you can see me do the inside of the window. Pass. And I'm going to use my towel for this just to wipe out any grease, fingerprints, whatever. Yeah, so I can kind of see I'm going to need to scrape that top edge there. It's very dirty. Yep, alright. Kind of why I like the towel too. You can feel a little resistance. And again, this is a brand new car. This is a 2024. But there's still a line here. You know, it sits in shipping. It sits out in the sun. I'm using stainless steel razor blades. That's going to reduce the chance of scratching glass. I was using the plastic razor blade holders, but I don't know if my grip, I just keep breaking them all the time, so I switched over to these Amazon metal scrapers. And again, I'm just holding this at a 45-degree angle, going up, scratching any scraping. Any contamination, adhesive, whatever, you know. Food particles, whatever gets on windows. Sometimes people have kids, you know, you got snot, you got whatever on the windows. It's always a good idea to scrape them. That goes for me too. I've got kids, well, a kid, but clean those windows extra good. All right, let's see how we're looking now. Oh yeah, I got all that off. All right, and I'm using a 40-inch roll here, so I'm gonna stick it on here, cut it in half, and then that'll be my driver and passenger side rear windows. And right here, I'm just putting the film on. I'm cutting it around. I go around the top and the side. Then I shift it over a little bit and then cut the other side. And then with the heat gun, you shrink the flat film to the curvature of the glass. So now that the glass is all cut, you'll see me use the heat gun, and then that shapes the flat film to the curvature of the glass. Otherwise, it would be all wrinkly and it wouldn't install correctly. So that's what this process looks like right here. All right, and then right here, I kind of got some rough edges, right? So I'm gonna kind of round these out. These are already rounded up here because we put it on the window. So let's just go ahead and take some of that out right there. I'm gonna freehand these ones. There we go. I'll take care of that. There we go. Cool, nice and round. Prep the window, so we're just gonna do our final spray squeegee spray. I'm going to use my fusion blade for this one. I'm going to be wiping it dry after every pass, so I'm not getting lines across there. Alright. I'm also going to just give it a wipe. Top, get the last dust particles out of there. And then just kind of looking at it, making sure nothing funky's in there, like if that's on the inside or outside. That was on the outside. And this is the fun part, actually installing the film. So right here with the orange squeegee, this is a softer silicone blade, and I do what's called a soft pass. That just gets the film on there, and then this green blade is a harder blade. This is where I press really hard and get as much water out of the film as possible. I'm constantly feeling around the edge. As you can see right there, I shaved that side because it would have lifted up. So you always want to feel around the edge of the tint to make sure it's not going to lift up. Now everything's clean. Get the edges one last time. You can kind of see that edge there. So the edges are kind of what separate amateurs from pros. So you can see there is no edge at all. It's perfectly cut all the way around there. And I am still an amateur. I don't claim to be the best. I'm pretty good, but I'm always improving, always learning. But that is a really good door window right there. So I'm gonna put all this stuff back together. But before I do that, I'm just checking down in here for any little things that pop up, but it looks perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead, put this door panel back on, and do the corners, we'll do the rear, we'll do the other door. Probably gonna do the other door, that way I can cut off the excess for these quarters right there. And then I'll start with the back. All right, so we're gonna put the door panel back on. All right, we need to take our tape off of the electrical connector. All right, it's all nice and dry. We're gonna plug our electrical connector back in. Push it right down, push the red clip down. All right, and then we are going to set this back on here. All right, that right back in there. And then I kind of like to look at the clips inside of the door, make sure nothing's binding. Okay. That's all on there? Okay, good, good, good. Looks like we got a little... Nope, nope, get that one back in there. Okay. See how that went in there nice and easy? I'm not forcing it, I'm not hopping on it. Okay? Just like that. There we go. All right. And the door panel is clipped back on. We didn't break any clips. We're not ripping and tearing or, you know, bam, bam, bam. We don't want to do any of that. It's delicate plastic. No need to force it. All right, there we go. And then I'm just putting these T30 Torx bit screws back in here. There's one right under the power window button. And then right under the door. Open switch. All right, there we go. There we go, all right. Everything's all done. Then we can pull our towel out of here. I've already put the window back down. And there you have it. Nothing's broken. Everything still works. We didn't get water all over the place. So in my opinion, it's the safest way to tint a Tesla Model 3 or Model Y. Well, the refresh one anyway. Pull the door panel off. Save yourself some headache. Make sure the car's nice for the customer. So that's how I do these door panels. These tint strips up here, that was the excess from this window. So I can reuse this excess for these little quarter windows up here. So that's what I'm gonna do. So around the perimeter of this, I'm just using some tape. That way I cut against the tape and don't scratch the glass. And it also helps me see the border when I go to cut. So just checking that out. We're gonna put the tint on, squeegee it on there so it doesn't move all around. And then make our cut so we get the shape of our window. And again, that tape helps so we don't scratch the glass, and it also helps us see the border. And shrinking the Tesla Model 3 rear window is going to be the hardest part of tinting a Model 3. It's really hard. I got my butt handed to me a few times. I had to do 3 attempts to get this right. So usually I get it first try, but for some reason it wasn't my day. So here I am shrinking that flat film to the curvature of that Model 3. And again, I'm only doing half windows, so folks that can do a full Model 3 rear window, they're really good at shrinking film. I just haven't got that good yet, but I'm still trying. But this is kind of what it looks like to shrink that half window. Yeah, that's the hardest part of the whole process right here. All right, so I'm gonna clean the inside of the back window. To do that, I'm gonna use steel wool, real light. That'll get any corrosion off of the defroster line so you don't get weird air gaps. After I do the steel wool, I'm gonna hit it with the scrub pad, and after the scrub pad, I'm gonna do a clay bar. And then a final spray, squeegee spray, and then we'll install it. And here I'm installing the film. I did a half reverse roll, so the liner is still on the film. I just sprayed the slip solution between the adhesive and the liner. So now I'm peeling the liner off, getting that tint stick on there on that rear window. It's a pretty big piece of film, but slides right into position, no problem. So just getting everything aligned. And here's my initial soft pass. Again, this is the same kind of process. Try to go side to side as much as possible, kind of with the grain of the defroster lines. And we're just doing our soft pass here with that orange squeegee. And again, it goes really high up there. Even though it's called a half window, it's probably like a 3/4 window. It's a 40-inch roll. Okay, and then here I'm just getting that bottom part, and then I'm doing my hard pass with that green squeegee. So yeah, that's probably the most satisfying window to watch get installed, is that rear window right there. So wiping everything down, making sure everything's clean. And I just want to show what the half window looks like on a Tesla Model 3. Well, like I showed in the data, that actual black part has more heat rejection properties than the best ceramic film you can get. So the half window is functional. Why do people do a half window? Well, one, it's cheaper, and two, I'm not that good at shrinking yet. I can't successfully do a full Tesla Model 3 window. I've been trying, but it is expensive to try and fail with those 60-inch rolls. So I've just been offering half windows. So you can kind of see here, maybe if you look really hard, you might be able to see a little something, but like you can't see really hardly any transition line. This is 20% film right here. Now on the inside, you can see a line. All right, so that's what a half window looks like inside of the car. All right, so you know your rear view mirror is probably gonna pick that up right there, but if you look up, you'll be able to see a line. What I do, there is a sunshade you can get for the Model 3 that covers the sunroof and half of the back window, and that'll kind of cover up that line right there, so it doesn't, you can't see it from the inside. But this is a functional rear window tint. Like, this is more heat rejection than the best ceramic film you can get, and now the clear part is covered, so now you get heat rejection there too. So that's kind of what that looks like, and how it's done, and why you do it. Because it's going to cost a lot more to do the full window than it is just to do half of the window. I use a 40-inch roll, so it's basically like a 3/4 window if you want to get technical about it, but that's what it looks like. And you can get these sunshades off of Amazon for 40 bucks. Comes with the half rear and the sunroof, and then that just kind of covers that up there. So I mean, that's only 50 bucks. You know, I charge 100 bucks to do the half rear. So I mean, some places are charging $300 to $500 for a full ceramic film. This isn't dyed or carbon film. This is, you know, full ceramic. I either use Pro Nano or Apex Ultra. So this is top quality film, and you're saving a bunch of money too. I mean, look at that. Extra 50 bucks. I mean, that beats spending another $200 to $300 on tint, and you get even better heat rejection. So just wanted to point that out. If you have a Tesla Model 3, you're balling out of budget, or maybe just don't like spending money needlessly, you can do that half window and get that sunshade right there. And again, I know my own limitations as a tinter. I just started doing this in April or May. I could probably install the full window. I just haven't got the shrinking down to enough where I feel comfortable for doing it for other people. Because like with my own car, I can sit here and fail 6, 7, 8 times before I get it right. And it's my car, so it doesn't matter. But like on a customer's car, I don't want to be tinting their car for 12 hours, throwing a bunch of money down the toilet because I'm wasting film. But once I get the shrinking down and figure it out, I'll probably start offering full window. But that's just my limitations currently. I'm trying to get better, learning every day. But this is what I can offer you right now. If you have a Model 3, I can do a half window, then throw that rear sunshade on there for you. And I'm doing 35% on this door here. The installation is about the same as the rear door, just a different shape. Soft pass, hard pass, make sure no wrinkles are in there, and then clean it up and you are good to go. All right, I'm just gonna take you around all these doors. I redid the passenger side front door twice. Had some spots here, but wasn't having it. Wanted to go as perfect as possible. So that is all done. You can kind of see those edges are nice and flush. Since we removed the seal, we got it all tucked down there. And before I put the seal on, there we go. Now my window is down and I don't have to worry about slamming the glass into that and breaking it. I'm gonna take my towel out here, throw that there. I mean, all these windows just came out great. can see that there. That came out perfect. Back window came out perfect. There's a driver's side rear door. That's basically perfect. And our driver's side door probably went a little wide there, but I mean, that is like quarter centimeter, so no big deal there. So all the stuff's done. Now we're to the hard part, the windshield. We're putting a 75% carbon ceramic tint on this windshield. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So here's my Tesla setup when I do a windshield. I've got a car dash towel that has a built-in soak rope. I've got that all tucked in there. And then I've got a secondary towel. I've got a towel over the screen. I've got a towel over the steering wheel. So everything is nice and protected. I also remove the B-pillar trim. That way it's easy to tuck in here. One thing I saw that might be an issue is, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there's some adhesive right there. So I'm gonna have to cut that real close. Or cut it after I install it, just cut around it. But yeah, I tried to scrape that off and the razor blade broke. So whatever adhesive that is super strong. So just have to be mindful of that. I got plenty of room under there. Look at that big black border too. You could cut that thing so wide. Same thing up top. You get a little extra wiggle room on the new refreshed Model 3. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this windshield. Throw the film on, shrink it, and install it. It is 7:23. I've been kind of slow rolling this one since I have it all night. But I'd like to get done before 9, so we'll see if I can meet that target. All right, so if you're wondering, like, why do you smear the dryer sheet, or some people use like bar soap, why do you put that on the windshield or the back window? This is what's called a dry shrink. So in the side and the door windows, you saw me do a wet shrink because it's not very curved, right? This windshield is curved this way, it's curved this way, and it's very big. So if I was to do a wet shrink, every time I squeegee it out, it's going to be dry, and then it's going to stick to the window. The dryer sheet allows for like a film layer, so that way when I shrink the film, it can slide those wrinkles up, right? It can slide the little shrunk wrinkles, I guess you could call them, slide them up, so it's not just stuck. So if it was just bare glass and you tried to do that, the tint would be stuck, and then you would just crease the film every time you tried to push the wrinkles out. So this is called a dry shrink. That's why you put dryer sheet on there. Yeah, so I'm gonna let this dry for like 10 minutes. Then I got my 75% ceramic film on there. Boom, right there. It's that second one up. We'll put that on. Hopefully successfully shrink it first try. Installing it is almost like a reward for successful shrinking. And again, this is going to look really similar to the rear window. I was able to do this one first time, no problem, so that made the job a lot more satisfying after doing 3 attempts on that rear window. So, yep, that's what it looks like. We're just shrinking that flat film to the curvature of the glass. You can't put regular window tint on a windshield because it's not curved. So it'd bunch up, it'd wrinkle up, it'd crease all up. So you have to shrink window tint to the curvature of your glass. And now that the film is shrunk, it's cut, I'm doing a reverse roll. So I'm going to spray some slip solution between the liner and the adhesive of the tint, because it would be a nightmare to try to lift that thing up and put it in there by yourself. So I'm just rolling it around a plastic PVC pipe. That gives the film some rigidity so it's not all crinkled up when you install it. And then I like to wipe all the dryer sheet off. That way while I'm installing I can see if there's like a bubble or something I need to get out. So here we go. We're just taking that liner off the window film and we'll just get that front part stuck. This is usually the trickiest part of installation, is just getting that first piece to stick. So there we go. You can kind of see it wants to peel back on itself, but we're making progress. And looks like we got that liner all off. Now we're just getting everything into position here, making sure it's around that camera right there. And looks like we don't have any light gaps, so using that orange squeegee, I always start around that camera first. Oftentimes that's where any fingers will pop up right there, so I always like to start with that. And then it's just a habit where I always squeegee out the driver's side first, because if there was like a bubble or a wrinkle or something right in your field of vision, it would be super annoying. So I like to do that part first just to make sure there's no issues in the tint right there. Then I go over to do my passenger side and use my bulldozer here to reach on that bottom edge. And looks like everything's looking pretty good. I'm just taking a look at it, making sure I don't have any bubbles or anything. Everything's looking good. So now I'm doing that hard pass with that green squeegee. And that's going to get the rest of the water out of the film. And sometimes you might have some little bubbles or water in your film that'll evaporate once the film cures. But this helps reduce that as much as possible. And I'm just giving another pass around that driver's side. Just want to make sure that that's as good as it can be. And then again on the passenger side too. I want the whole window to look great. And there we go. Getting everything kind of stuck in there. Yep. And looks like we are good to go. We just wrapped up the tint on this. See what we got here. 0. And look at that. 96% IR heat rejection. This was 20%, but the factory glass is like 80, so it turns into 16%. So I put 20 on the back, and then I put 35 on the front. So let's see here. Yeah, so that's about 32.5, 95.4. So awesome stats for the ceramic tint. So the whole back is 20, and then 35 on the front, and then 75% on the windshield. You can't even tell it's there. But this thing came out absolutely amazing. What a beautiful car too. I love this red color. This thing looks awesome. And as always too, got it charging up so when they pick it up, they'll be at 80% battery, ready to go on their next adventure. So we got about 36 on the solar meter right now. Once we put it to this tint, we're going down to about 7. All right, so out in the sun here, we're at about 280, 300 from the solar meter. Let's go down here to our tint. And that's knocking it down to about 50. Let's see what it looks like on the windshield here. All right, we're about 380, 350. We go to the windshield and we're down to about 35. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please consider subscribing to my channel. I've got a goal. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't know if there's that many people that are into wraps or window tint, but that's what I'm trying. And you might be asking like, hey, where'd that red Tesla go? Well, 1, I forgot to film an exit video. And 2, there's a freaking Cybertruck in my garage. Now, I've already put ceramic tint on this thing, and we're gonna wrap it satin black. So that'll be in a video coming up probably in a week or 2 once I finish up. But again, just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you like this new style of video, or if you just want to see me do the stuff with music playing in the background. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next one.